morning, my friends. Sorry for this terrible light, but it's the best that I have. This is going to be part 2 in the saga of my saddles being recalled. So I posted a video about a month ago saying that my saddles were recalled, and I sent them off to the collegiate factory in Pennsylvania, and they returned them very quickly. I received them back within 3 weeks after I sent off, or 3 weeks after they arrived at the factory. And now my wonderful saddle fitter is coming out, and I'm going to get them fit to Merlin, and I'll be interested to see what kind of changes she has to make compared to when she fit my old ones back in October, because the flocking, theoretically the flocking that my current ones have is the same configuration of flocking that would have caused Merlin some issues back in October. So it'll be interesting to see if she removes flocking from the same areas or if there's more, which will mean that he's filled out a little bit more. So yeah, come along with me. First I will take you back in time to when my saddles arrived. You're going to have to excuse the state of my apartment. I'm in the process of doing a lot of decluttering, well, decluttering, but also upgrading of furniture. So for example, there is a unconstructed, there's an IKEA bed frame in a box on the floor and has been here for a week because I haven't had the time or the energy to swap out my old bed frame for my new one. Bingley is here, but my new saddles have arrived. We're going to unbox them. So I sent these off the 26th of January, and they arrived in Pennsylvania on the 30th, I think, 29th or 30th. I'm really lucky that I live in southern Ontario and the factory is in Pennsylvania, so it's not super far geographically. Ooh, there is a saddle cover. So this one is my dressage, my new dressage saddle. Wow, these are packed so much better than when I ordered my original ones. "18" just what I ordered. So here's my new dressage saddle. Clear degree mono event saddle, 18" medium. And I think they've even put, yeah, there's even some more gullets in there. So I have 4 medium gullets. They look like the same. This bar looks a little bit different. Okay, cool. Next stop, saddle fitter. Well, actually, factory settings of this jump saddle actually fit Eve really well. So I should be able to use this on Eve this weekend, but I'm not going to use either of these on Merlin until I get the saddle fitter out. Today's Valentine's Day, and I have an appointment with the fitter on the 29th. So 2 weeks, but he's just coming back into work now anyway, so a couple of weeks of groundwork will not hurt him. It's time for you to get back to work, dude. Yeah. If all goes well, tonight will be our first ride. Yes, sir. Okay, pals, so it is a few days later. I didn't end up working Merlin on the weekend because the weather was like nice, but I didn't have time on, well, I lunched him on Saturday and he was a nut, weren't you? Yes, Mr. Innocent, he was an absolute fool, so I was glad I lunched him then. And then Sunday, so yesterday, because today's Monday, the day before this video is going to go out, the temperature was nice. It was like 8 degrees, but it was windy, damp, and there was just this feeling in the air that I was like, today is not the right day to get back on my horse after I haven't been on him. Aside from that time I got on him bareback, I haven't been on him since the week before Christmas. It's like 13 degrees today, and we finally have our saddles that are fit. And interestingly, I could have been riding him this whole time because there was no adjustments to be made, but after the issues that we had in the fall, I just wanted to be sure. I've always been a big proponent of saddle fit, but I genuinely now, like, I would rather not be able to ride my horse or have to ride him bareback or just do groundwork rather than ride in a saddle that I know doesn't fit properly. Let's get this boyo tacked up, head out to the arena. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let him loose. I was gonna pop him on the lunge, but he doesn't get as much energy out on the lunge because by nature on the lunge, he's quite lazy unless I really push him, versus if I let him loose. If you follow my videos either on TikTok or Instagram or here on YouTube, you will know. Loose in the arena, he gets his energy out. And yeah, we'll see if he has any bucks and then I will get on. Okay, so we're in the arena. He is loose. I'm gonna let him investigate the sides being down because the sides being down and it being dark is a little bit scary. That head shake tells me he might have a buck or two to get out. It's so funny, he always has a little bit of a cough every spring when the mold spores, like when the snow is melting and there's mold spores. And normally it happens in like April, but because we're having such an unseasonably warm, like late winter, it's happening early. Evidently my horse is terrified of whips. Yes. Okay, so I am pushing him to go because I know he's got some spunk in there. Come on, dude. Touching. There we go. Hop, hop, hop. Good boy. He's actually being much calmer right now than he was on Saturday. He was a nut on Saturday. Are you going to be good if mommy gets on? Or are you going to be a nut? Are you going to be silly? And to be honest, guys, I highly doubt that tonight will be the most interesting ride. I think we will do walk, maybe a little bit of trot. Oh, nice lead change. Last time he did a lead change and I caught it on film, he tripped and almost fell on his face. You're not seeming too spunky. Should mommy get on? Huh? Yeah, let's get on. Canter. There it is. See, I knew that that was in there. I knew it. You're very good at hiding when you need to buck, but I always know it's in there. It was really funny because I thought, he's not doing much. I think I'll get on. And then I was like, I think I'll put him out for one more little blast. And I'm glad I did. Very glad I did. Do you have to go again, or are you going to be good for mom to get on? Because I really don't want to end up in the dirt. You going to be good? You promise? Dude, f*** off. So bad. Don't you dare. That's my tripod that I'm using to film. Come on. Come on. So Merlin wouldn't be Merlin if he didn't have an issue with this end. So I could tell as soon as I got on that it was going to be a kind of night where he was scared of the top end that has all the stuff. So rather than trying to push him into it, I just let him investigate on his own, like at his own speed, and he would come to a halt. I would let him look, and then I would put my leg gently on, encourage him a few steps forward, and then move him ahead. There were a few times where he did a really good effort at being curious, and I wanted to encourage that, so I clicked and treated. Now, I have owned this nearly 5-year-old horse since he was 11 months old, and I've known him since he was born, and he's one of those types that he does much better and is much braver when you encourage his natural curiosity and let him investigate things at his own speed. So you can see the next time we came around, once again, I wasn't, forcing him to go. He was going on his own. The only time I kind of used a little bit of pressure was to get his face away from eating a quarter sheet. And as you can see, there's still a little bit of hesitancy in his step the second time around, but he goes by it a lot more brave. And when we come by the third time, he is super, super confident. And he had a little bit of a reaction here, but it wasn't to the corner, it was to the dog barking outside. So then after we did our walk both ways, we went up into the trot, and as you can see, I'm being a little hesitant to let him trot out. And that was just because he had felt a little bit tense throughout the ride so far, so I didn't want him to have a super big reaction. So I was super soft and admittedly a little bit hesitant in my aids. Now I am asking him to make sure to bend around my leg when we're going by the scary corners to make sure that he doesn't, so that he's not able to look out. And there's that cough that I was telling you about. So at this time of year, well, normally it's in April, but when the snow is melting and the mold spores from the snow come up, he always has a little bit of a reaction to them, and he'll have a little bit of a cough at the beginning of my ride. Normally it's 2 or 3 coughs each way, and then he's good, and it kind of clears his airways. So this was where I really started to get confidence and allow him to stretch down a little bit and to really start trotting out, and you can just see his stride open up. I really I'm so happy that I tend to give him a long winter break because he deserves it, but whenever I bring him back into work, it's like putting on an old pair of gloves, like those super comfy gloves that you love. I love riding him so much. I'm so grateful that he's mine. Him being a little silly and looking out. I just truly never thought that I would own a horse like him, and I count my lucky stars every day. Then after we trotted to the right and he had his little spook, we trotted to the left, and at this point I was feeling pretty confident that he wouldn't do anything silly, even though he had just spooked. So I tended to keep the circle not quite full into the corner. You can see there that he's being a little silly. And you can also see that he's being a little bit mouthy with the bit. I am going to be looking into different bitting options and trying a virtual bit fitting appointment at one point in the next few months, but to be honest, I think it's just because he hasn't worn a bit in ages. He wore it a couple times before Christmas. He wore it once at the beginning of February, and before that it had been a few months because he had needed his teeth done. He had his teeth done back in November or December and there was nothing. So yeah, I think it's just a matter of him getting used to it again, but I'm so pleased with how he's looking and feeling. Like, yes, you know, he could be more forward, he could be a little bit more kind of into the bit and collected, but to be honest, at this point, I just want to make sure that he's going along comfortably, working through his back and not tucking his nose into his chest, which he can do sometimes. You know, it was his first ride back after weeks and weeks and weeks. It was quite a spooky type night, and he held himself together really beautifully for me. So if this is the potential that I'm seeing on his first ride back after weeks, I can't wait to see what he's like when he's back to full fitness. So overall, he was a very good boy, and I'm very pleased with him. I'm especially pleased with the fit of the saddle. He felt really good. No like stickiness to move forward at all. He was stretching down into the bridle. You'll see in the riding footage that he's a little mouthy with the bit. He hasn't really worn a bit in months, and I was just starting to introduce it again before Christmas. So it's something that he just needs to get used to again. I also need to play around with some bits because I'm not convinced that he's happy in the one that he's in. I found a company that does like virtual bit fitting, because it's called Agadors, and it's a Canadian bit brand, and they're also bit fitters, and they do this thing where you pay, I think it's $70, and they mail you 2 or 3 bits that you can try over the period of a month, and then whatever ones you like you can buy and you can send the others back. So I might try that. We will see. I'm going to see how he settles into wearing the bits again. So anyways, he was a very good boy. I wasn't even sure if I was going to trot, because when I got on he was quite looky at the spooky corners, which he always is. So if the ride was just that was going to be fine, but he settled really nicely, and I did a little bit of trot each way. Annoyingly, my pivot died towards the end, even though like I literally charged it today. It was on charge for like 3 hours. So something is happening where my Pivo's not holding a charge. I'm gonna keep on keeping on like this with him. I think my next few rides, I'm just gonna do walk trot. Last year, it was about 3 weeks before I cantered. I don't think I'm gonna quite need to take as long this time, but we will see. And yeah, I'm gonna bring you along for the ride. So probably in a couple weeks, I'll have a part 2 to bringing him back into work. His first probably 5 or 6 rides. I won't include everything. There are some exciting things in the pipeline, some kind of bittersweet, and yeah, lots coming up on this channel this year. So if you enjoyed, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, comment down below, and hit subscribe if you want to see more. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. Don't forget to give your horse or pony a hug or kiss the next time you see them, and I will see you next time. Me holding a horse treat. Bye.